Tanse, hello and welcome to the 9th annual Daughters Day. As you can see, this year things are quite a bit different. We are not gathered in person in Edmonton's beautiful City Hall, but we are in the social media universe. That is disappointing in some ways, but in other ways, it's a great opportunity to celebrate Alberta women doing great things, because you can enjoy this event anywhere in the world. My name is April Eve. I'm a proud member of the Miksuk Cree First Nation Treaty 8. I'm also the founder of the Stolen Sisters and Brothers Action Movement, a grassroots advocacy group raising awareness for missing, murdered, and exploited Indigenous people. I was a Daughter of the Year in 2013, so I'm one of 57 women who have received this honor previously. Today you will be meeting 6 new Daughters of the Year. I am excited to be the host for our program this year. I hope you will enjoy the next 40 minutes and that you will leave with a renewed energy and commitment to the work of creating communities marked by full gender equity. This year's Daughters Day theme is From Reflection to Action, which as your host is very fitting and deeply personal. As a survivor of sexual exploitation and advocate for missing, murdered, and exploited Indigenous people, I understand the importance of turning awareness into action. And I encourage everyone watching today's program to help advance and protect all Indigenous peoples of Canada by taking action and familiarizing yourselves and those you love with the 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, as well the National Inquiry's 231 calls for justice. These are legal imperatives and represent ways to help end the genocide against Indigenous peoples and transform harmful, systemic, and societal values that have worked to maintain colonial violence. We begin by recognizing that this event takes place on land that is the ancient home of my people, the First Peoples, now home to people from every part of the world. The treaties that describe the land being shared identify commitments from the settlers that is important for those commitments to be taken seriously and honored. We acknowledge that we are hosting our event on Treaty 6 land, the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. We also acknowledge that we are here in a time of great pain, with so much racial injustice. We ask that we all stand together in solidarity, speaking boldly for justice and asking nothing less from our fellow Canadians than full equality for all, regardless of race, gender, age, culture, or faith. And now I would like to introduce you to the Honourable Leela Ahir, Alberta's Minister of Culture, Multiculturalism, and Status of Women, for some comments.
It is such an honor to be part of this virtual Daughters Day celebration. My heartfelt congratulations go to the recipients of this year's award. Alberta women have a proven legacy of being strong, resourceful, and innovative, and it is my pleasure to be able to support them in my role as Alberta's Minister responsible for the status of women. The women being celebrated tonight as the Daughters of the Year are an inspiration to all of us, and not all have had the same opportunities or support to make their dreams a reality. So we must work together to fight gender discrimination. My deepest thanks to volunteers at Canadians for Civil Society, your work to raise women up, and advocating for human rights, and for guiding our province to build a better, safer, and much more welcoming home for all. Once again, congratulations to this year's Daughters Day nominees.
Thank you, Minister Ahir. Dr. Vivian Aboud is the chair of the Daughters Day Planning Group, and I invite her now to share some comments.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a joy to stand before you to celebrate Daughters Day with women who make a difference in our lives. We are grateful for our founders, sponsors, and each person who has contributed to make our celebratory efforts possible. Daughters Day is a community initiative that highlights the importance of our daughters and of our community commitment against discrimination and human rights abuses against women. This year's theme focuses on reflection to action. Reflection allows us to supercharge our actions on an individual, on a community, and global basis. A reflective approach to action will make us more effective. It takes a whole community to empower women. Actions must be taken to advocate on human rights, gender equity, violence, and discrimination against women. Please stay in contact with us, contribute to our initiatives, and enhance the importance of our actions. Now, it is time to celebrate our 6 Daughters of the Year.
Thank you, Vivian, for your words and your leadership of the Daughters Day project. The heart of Daughters Day is the opportunity to celebrate and honor a few of the many women doing valuable things to make Alberta a place where every woman has full choice and opportunity in her life, where we model what gender equity really is. This year, 6 women were chosen from 25 nominations. We are grateful for this careful work of the panel of 4 women who made these selections. You will meet each of them soon. But first, it is a special pleasure for me to introduce to you the first 2020 Daughter of the Year, because she is someone I have worked very closely with and deeply admire. As a mother and advocate of missing, murdered, and exploited Indigenous women and girls, Kathy King has courageously dedicated herself to addressing the national human rights crisis of missing, murdered, and exploited Indigenous women and girls. For over 40 years as a social worker, she has worked with government, healthcare, and community agencies. She has been a volunteer doing public health education, workshops, and board work with organizations such as the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton, Victims of Homicide Support Society, and CEASE, the Center to End All Sexual Exploitation. Always concerned for poor and disadvantaged people, her involvement became more personal when her own teen daughter began experimenting with drugs, developed reoccurring psychosis, and disappeared from the streets of Edmonton in 1997. The website missingkara.ca and Facebook page Missing Kara share her daughter's story and explore information about vulnerability, exploitation, trauma, and healing. Kathy recently celebrated 25 years of marriage, shares the enjoyment of 8 grandchildren, and copes with COVID-19 by expanding her online experiences. I am delighted to introduce Kathy King, 2020 Daughter of the Year.
Hi, my name is Kathy King, and I'm honored to be recognized for my involvement in raising awareness about human rights. For many years, I have chosen to speak on behalf of those who have not survived. We know there are thousands of missing and murdered women across Canada. Too many of these cases have not been solved. Not all missing and murdered women are Indigenous, but a large percentage were. All were marginalized in some way, and many were sexually exploited. This leads me to speak on behalf of the millions of women and children around the world who are trafficked every year for the so-called sex trade, an exploitation that puts all vulnerable people at risk, and which exists only because of consumer demand. We need to create equal opportunities for independence and security, so all daughters are protected from exploitation and are free to develop their sacred roles as creators, leaders, healers, providers, and protectors. Thank you.
Susan Green is another member of the panel who is a past Daughter of the Year from 2017. Susan serves on the boards of the Great Western Brewing Company and Imperial Equities, and was the chair of the Alberta Liquor and Gaming Commission. She spent 30 years in executive leadership roles at the University of Alberta, the Alberta Cancer Board, the Alberta Cancer Foundation, and the Government of Alberta. Susan has also contributed her leadership skills on boards of Habitat for Humanity, Crossroads International, Peter Lougheed Leadership College, Pearson College of the Pacific, Edmonton Glenora Rotary Club, and Edzim Kulu, a society for children with AIDS in South Africa. Her work has been honored with awards including an honorary degree from Grant MacEwan University, Global Woman of Vision, and Venture Magazine's 2016 Top 50 Influential Albertans. Thank you, Susan.
Halima Ali is dedicated to supporting immigrant and refugee women and their families overcome barriers, achieve economic security, develop their own leadership potential, and realize their dreams. Coming to Canada as a refugee herself, Halima has been guiding the Central Alberta Immigrant Women's Association since 2005, work that has seen her honored as one of Red Deer's Women of Excellence. Her skills and enthusiasm have taken the association from a one-person operation to a major immigrant-serving organization. Ms. Ali listens first to the challenges faced by the people with whom she works, and then advocates with them. She has guided research with the Red Deer College to understand the economic barriers and issues of domestic violence in Central Alberta immigrant communities. The home instruction program for parents of preschool children, which she developed, is a first in this province. She also places a priority on leadership training and civic engagement for immigrant youth. Energy, persistence, and passion join with a deep care for people in all Halima Ali's work.
Hi, my name is Halima Ali, and I am the Executive Director of Central Alberta Immigrant Women's Association. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the wonderful people who participated in my nomination for the Daughters of the Year award. As an immigrant myself, I understand the challenges faced by newcomers in their quest to settle in a new country and integrate into a new community. Therefore, the one thing I am most proud of is that I have worked hard in assisting immigrants, especially women and girls, overcome barriers and achieve their goals in their new home, Canada. Thank you.
Susan Aerigo is a 2017 Daughter of the Year, a young woman deeply passionate about community building, who believes in the power of art to empower those around her. Born in South Sudan and raised in Edmonton, Aerigo brings a multi-layered voice to her poetry, laced with the intricacies, complexities, and beauty that occur when two different entities blend. Through her poetry, she speaks of the importance of self-love, female empowerment, racism, and identity. Aerigo works with nonprofit organizations that focus on empowerment of marginalized groups, and she believes in the importance of building resiliency, inspiring hope, and bringing community together. Thank you, Aerigo.
As a past Daughters Day recipient, I am here today to acknowledge and give the next award to Simran Dhillon, who is amplifying minority voices and advocating for crucial changes within the community as she continues her own journey as a student. Through her leadership at a nonprofit organization that supports disadvantaged youth to gain support to succeed academically, in collaboration with Edmonton Public Schools Foundation, she helped create virtual summer programs for children affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. She's created 2 startups to create opportunities in life-saving technologies. One of them is conducting clinical research on her innovation, Fentigon, a technology to reduce street-level drug overdoses. She's also working in collaboration with the United Way to create an online resource for individuals who need help navigating social services during the COVID-19 pandemic. Simran also serves as a University of Alberta Students' Union counselor and a member of the General Faculty's Council, where her priorities include advocating for more mental health supports, and she's the Edmonton World Health Organization Chair. Simran, congratulations. Thank you for all your hard work.
Accessibility lays the foundation of creating opportunity amongst all people, no matter their backgrounds. As a community that celebrates individuals from all walks of life, that appreciates diversity, we need to represent this in our ability to create accessibility amongst all of our resources. We can do this through amplifying the voices of minorities and their needs, by translating important healthcare, safety, and legal information into many different languages, including those that aren't commonly represented. We can do this by creating initiatives that encourage educational supports in rural areas. Through creating accessibility, we are unifying ourselves as a community that provides the foundation for all individuals to flourish. Let's take away obstacles and instead pave the way for success. We cannot silence our diversity. Instead, we should honor it through creating accessibility throughout our community.
Dr. Jody Abbott is a friend of Daughters Day, a past keynote speaker, and another of the panel that selected this year's Daughters of the Year. She is president of the University Hospital Foundation and was president of NorQuest College from 2010 to 2019, where she led growth and expansion and innovative programs, including the development of the Singmar Center for Learning. Jody chairs the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Board, which oversees the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Growth Plan with 13 mayors. She is a director on the board of Freedom Cannabis, a private cannabis company, and volunteers as a world and Olympic level figure skating official, and was an Olympic judge in Vancouver and Sochi. Thank you, Jody.
Cecilia Blasetti is a leader in ensuring vulnerable Albertans who experience homelessness, addictions, mental health issues, poverty, and other social issues have access to supports and services tailored to meet their physical, mental, and social needs while respecting their dignity. Cecilia is Executive Director of the Boyle-Macaulay Health Centre, retiring at the end of this year. With her leadership, Boyle-Macaulay stands out among community health centres in addressing social determinants of health in creative ways, as well as providing comprehensive primary health care. Cecilia's leadership has grown the organization to allow pregnant women experiencing homelessness to access housing and to improve access to primary health care for youth and Indigenous families. She models respectful empathy in her relationships. During the pandemic, she has led the initiative for a 24/7 shelter for those without a home to isolate when needed. Cecilia is devoted to her family, friends, and her community. And lucky her, she spends a lot of time with her grandchildren, Grace and Charlie. Congratulations, Cecilia.
Thank you so much for this very special honor. It is truly humbling to be amongst this great group of women. I would like to dedicate this award to my mother, Evelyn Mary Penny. Being her daughter and seeing the world through her eyes has been a huge gift, and even though she's been gone now 18 years, she still influences me every single day. My mother was a woman of great faith, a faith that was grounded in social justice and in action. Her faith was not about church on Sundays, although she loved to go to Mass, but rather it defined who she was and every part of who and how she spent her life. She was a nurse for 45 years and loved all aspects of nursing, but she found her passion and her true calling when she began working in addictions and in the justice system. As much as she cared for and cared about the patients and individually, she became equally committed and determined to identify and make changes to systems that disadvantage people because of poverty, racism, gender, and the inequitable distribution of the essentials of life. For my mother, this was not just about economic disparity, but also about access to acceptance, love, and connection. She was a wonderful mother and grandmother and truly a force to be reckoned with. I'm thankful to her, and I'm thankful for you recognizing me and so that I can recognize her.
Dr. Nung Tran Davies is one of the women who identified this year's Daughters of the Year. Nung is a physician, children's book author, and mother of 3. She came to Canada as a refugee from Vietnam and established the Children of Vietnam Benevolent Foundation to provide opportunities for impoverished children. She founded the Camosa Scholarship for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit mothers who write to help effect positive changes in the community through stories. And she opened up the Zip Art Gallery to support local artists. Thank you, Nun.
Angeline Goredema is committed to making the world a better place by being a positive role model for youth in Central Alberta, providing inspiration and motivation and leading human rights initiatives. She initiated the Human Rights Youth Conference and makes presentations to students promoting welcoming communities and speaking out against bullying and racism. Angeline came to Canada alone as a refugee and now is a young mother to 3 children. As an author of children's books myself, I am especially happy to know she has written a children's book called Living in Different Countries to encourage understanding, knowledge, and acceptance. Her position with HIV North as a program manager creates opportunities to work with a variety of community stakeholders, creating positive change. Angeline was part of the Global Young Leaders Conference, a program that brings together outstanding young people from all over the world. Congratulations, Angeline.
When we talk about something that's important to me, community development comes to mind. And community development covers a lot of things. It covers homelessness, addictions, youth justice, multiculturalism, diversity, and all these issues. I am passionate about them. I believe that in our communities, we all have a role to play. If you do something small and I do something small, we create this big, magnificent piece that we can all be proud of, and we can say we have been a part of change in our community. So I encourage everybody to do their part. And Mother Teresa said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone that can create many ripples across the waters. I am encouraging everyone to cast their stone. Thank you.
We have one more Daughter of the Year to meet, and I'm so happy to be able to introduce you to one of Alberta's most impressive musical treasures, Maria Dunn. Maria Dunn is a Juno-nominated storyteller through song who writes and sings about the resilience and grace of ordinary people. Through her songwriting career, Maria Dunn has vigorously supported and celebrated social justice and human rights activism. She has worked with Ground Zero Productions to develop and perform oral history-based video ballads sharing the stories of working people and climate justice through multimedia performances including On the River, honoring Indigenous activist Chief Dorothy MacDonald Hyde, Packing Town, a tribute to North Edmonton's meatpacking workers and community, and GWG, Piece by Piece, inspired by immigrant women working in Edmonton's GWG garment factory. Maria has volunteered countless hours performing for events, addressing cutbacks to refugee health care, peace rallies, and on picket lines supporting workers' rights. Maria has written and commissioned songs to celebrate the work of community groups, including Friends of Medicare, Public Interest Alberta, Edmonton Mennonite Center for Newcomers, and Alberta Federation of Labor. Thank you, Maria, for all the great music and the commitment to social justice.
I'm honored to receive this award and very grateful to friends Bill and Betty Jo from the Northern Lights Folk Club for nominating me, Joan and Alvin supporting, and the Daughters Day organization for their work. As a daughter, I'm profoundly grateful to my mom and dad for sharing their joy of music making and their social justice activism. To them and my brothers for their encouragement and support. And especially to the other daughter in my family, my sister Elaine, who came into my life when she was 5 months and I was 5 years old. She's one of my most important teachers in my work to understand my connection as immigrant settler to her Anishinaabe, Saulteaux, and Métis relations, and my responsibility as a treaty person to actively work towards reconciliation and equity in my artistic discipline and in my community. I applaud all my sister daughters recognized today, and thank you for your work in making our world a better place.
Most years, the Daughters' Day program includes entertainment performances by wonderfully talented Albertans. This year, instead of bringing something new, we invite you to join a collage with brief tastes of entertainment from the past 8 years.
Circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole.
जिसकी फितरत में हैरत समाई नहीं, जिसको दौलत से ज़्यादा मैं भाई नहीं. She's gonna say the word, she's gonna. She's got a dream bigger than this place. See it in her face, yeah. Dark trenches founded on backward beliefs. Spark a wildfire of courage and hear them finally speak, not from their mouths, but from their gut. A bellowing, painstaking cry like we Africans know, like those who truly know what suffering means know. They will assert without fear or hesitation. Just because you don't see my worth doesn't mean I don't have a voice.
I appreciate the Alberta women who model leadership with courage and generosity. And in Edmonton, one of those women whose name will often arise is Kate Gunn. Kate began her career in the field of cultural heritage, but in 2001, she took on an interim leadership role with HIV Edmonton. Kate then joined the City of Edmonton, working on community crime prevention that led to the formation of Reach Edmonton in 2010. Since then, Kate has worked to spearhead initiatives ranging from the Next Gen Initiative, the formation of End Poverty Edmonton, and Edmonton's Winter City Strategy. Especially close to her heart has been the Edmonton Women's Initiative, launched in 2014 and aimed at advancing gender equity. Kate retired from her role at the city last fall, but continues to be passionately committed to collective impact for change, and sits on the board of the Tamarack Institute and is a director with Edmonton's Skills Society, and currently working on a project in the area of food justice involving Edmonton's ethno-cultural communities. We look forward to hearing from you, Kate.
It's an honor to join you today to celebrate Daughters' Day in Alberta. And I'd like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you today from Treaty 6 territory. This year's theme, Reflection to Action, really resonates deeply with me and with many of you, I know. The women we honor today here also exemplify this call to action. There may, in fact, be no year more in need of reflection to action than the year 2020. It's been a year like no other. A global pandemic has already seen close to 1 million lives lost, along with significant economic consequences worldwide. It's also starkly revealed cracks and inequities in our systems that existed well before COVID-19 arrival. It's also clear that women are on the front lines of this pandemic. We know that women entered the pandemic already at a disadvantage, with 56% of women working in the caring economy jobs, often low paid with precarious benefits through COVID that have come to be recognized as essential. Women continue to take on the lion's share of family care responsibilities, and to make matters worse, an increase in gender-based violence, something the UN calls the shadow pandemic, has been exacerbated by COVID. But perhaps most significant, it's evident that while all women have been adversely affected by COVID, Indigenous women and women of color in our communities have experienced by far the greatest impacts. Just earlier this summer, several groundbreaking reports in Canada confirmed these facts. One noted in Manitoba that women make up over 80% of First Nations people off reserve who've contracted the virus. And another national study described how Black Canadians are much more likely to have experienced serious job layoffs and reduced working hours. So concern grows that the progress that has been made on gender equity in recent years may very well be set back decades. This paints a very bleak picture for women in Canada. But at the same time, there is hope that crises like this can be seen as opportunities for change. I am inspired, for example, to hear strong voices bringing forward creative plans for action and recovery. The Feminist Economic Recovery Plan for Canada, for example, predicts a very slow economic recovery if women can't get back to work because they lack access to safe, quality, and affordable childcare. And another progressive response, the 6 Principles for a Just Recovery, signed by 150 civil society organizations in this country, calls for post-pandemic plans to uphold Indigenous rights and to put people's health and well-being at the center. When collective voices for change like these emerge, it provides hope that this crisis, like others in years gone by, may in fact be a portal of opportunity to build a recovery that works for everyone. So it's against this very daunting backdrop of unprecedented upheaval that I'd like to share 3 things that I have learned about change and the goal of gender equity in my work with community. First, I believe that cities can be drivers of change. More than 80% of us live in cities, but how much do we really know about the impact of cities on our daily lives? When I first came to work with the City of Edmonton in 2002, like many, I had no idea of these impacts. I quickly realized, however, that cities are in fact in the vanguard of change. As the order of government that's closest to people, time and time again, cities from coast to coast to coast have stepped up to tackle important and really complex social issues that no one else will. From eliminating poverty to designing urban spaces with people at the center, from gender equity to tackling climate resilience and community safety, cities indeed are the crossroads for change. Now, I'm not saying that cities have found all the solutions. Far from it. Even in a pandemic, however, with severely limited resources and policy levers, cities have demonstrated their ability to respond rapidly, to see what's possible, and to try and innovate for change. Citizens have witnessed this and will remember. Second, I've seen that cities do their best work when they walk hand in hand with communities, when they see citizens as the experts, when they make and hold space for diverse community voices to lead. In 2015, my team helped launch Edmonton's Women's Initiative. This is a priority action that offered City Council support to advance gender equity in our city. At the same time, women of diverse backgrounds called for the creation of a community leadership committee that would advise City Council on issues and decisions they were making that impact women. In response, WAVE, the Women's Advocacy Voice of Edmonton, was formed, and I remember that the call for applications for inaugural members generated over 140 responses, the largest single response to any city committee to date. In its first 6 years, WAVE went on to share powerful stories and data with City Council on 2 key gender issues: women's transit safety and accessibility challenges. WAVE's research and first-hand insights really helped shape City Council decisions around funding and improvements to transit services that benefited women and families across this community. WAVE also reviewed and recommended to City Council that the city learn about and adopt a gender lens to help shape and design and build a city that responds to the needs of women and other diverse perspectives in our community. This recommendation was adopted, and today it's part of how the city works. Now, I know that policy change does not grab the headlines, but in terms of local government, policy is action. The relentless work of WAVE has begun to have a ripple effect on city policy decisions that are important to women and families, issues like childcare and transit safety. And as women become integral to everyday decision making, our cities are going to become places of greater inclusion and well-being for all. And thirdly, the value of action. Someone once told me many years ago that the greatest asset a community leader can have is a penchant for action. That simple phrase stayed with me throughout my career. Over the past decade or more, my team and I have had the honor of working with citizens, Indigenous and newcomer communities, and political leaders on some very bold goals. Things like ending poverty in a generation, addressing the long-standing need for an Indigenous culture and wellness center in this city, and advancing gender equity and inclusion. And we quickly learned that concrete actions and early successes are vital to any group that is trying to change the world. The big issues of our day are not for the faint of heart. They are complex, time-consuming, and generational in nature, and they're challenges that one player alone can't solve. Tangible actions spark hope, whether that's a policy changed, a barrier broken, or a new program model tested. It empowers people to see that change is possible. So as community builders, we know that women are powerful agents of change. What can we do to reimagine our communities today to advance equity? I offered 3 starting point actions in closing. First, ask and encourage and ask again women with different backgrounds to run for office in the elections scheduled for the fall of 2021 across Alberta. If we are to truly build back better post-COVID, we desperately need councils that truly reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. Next, support women on all kinds of leadership roles, in their school board, in the workplace, on business councils, and on their community league. And finally, as women, let's listen, reflect, and learn how to be active allies to Indigenous and Black women and community members. As powerful movements like Black Lives Matter and the goal of reconciliation call for transformational change and the goal of and for an end to systemic racism, we have to learn more about our history and challenge how we think and act in order to support the massive change that lies ahead. In closing, I'd like to take a moment to warmly congratulate the inspiring Alberta women honored here today. Your actions and strong community leadership for change chart a course for a new and more equitable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for your important reminder of the importance of taking time for reflection and for maintaining a strong commitment to action. You have lived this, and we value hearing from someone who is a model of working for a just and equitable Alberta for each person. Congratulations again to each of the 2020 Daughters of the Year. Our community is better for the courageous and committed lives each of you are living. This has been a unique way to celebrate Daughters Day in this world of COVID-19. But thank you to each of you for joining us, and thank you to the people and organizations making contributions to help with the cost of the program. We look forward to being together in person at Edmonton City Hall in 2021. Please share the YouTube link with others so they can enjoy this year's program. And please stay in touch with us through our Facebook page. I want to introduce Vincent Chatai, the President of Canadians for a Civil Society, the host organization of Daughters Day, to offer some closing comments.
First of all, I would like to congratulate all the Daughters of the Year for their accomplishment. Your work is very important to our community. What you do makes a big difference to the lives of many people. Daughters Day is a flagship initiative of the Canadians for a Civil Society. We are a non-profit organization consisting of volunteers. Now, there are 5 foundations for civil society: literacy and education, respect and human dignity, human rights and equality, rule of law and peaceful coexistence, and meaningful economic opportunity with freedom from poverty. Canadians for a Civil Society promotes these principles through information and advocacy, conferences and meetings, influence in government policy and business practices, and networking with other NGOs. I invite you to join Canadians for a Civil Society to help promote these Canadian values. Please go to our website at www.ccsorg.ca. Thank you.
Happy Daughters Day, and congratulations to all of the Daughters of the Year.
Stories of survival, emerging from the darkness of fear, begin with our arrival. A lifetime on a road led by tears, and there's lots of joy and lots of pain, sunshine and wind and rain, blood flowing through our veins with the strength and the wisdom of years. Obstacles surmounting, overcoming them one by one. Towards freedom we are counting, and changes have already begun when we're writing our own history, breaking through the mystery, standing up for all to see the battles that we've won. So here we stand before you, daughters of all ages today, proclaiming something so true. We're ready and willing to say, stand for love, not for hate. Our rights are not for debate. Join with us, it's not too late. Oh, we will not go away. And there's so much we can celebrate here